Hello and welcome to Karkom Cards and Comics. I'm your host today, Hearse, and I want to talk in depth about a character, one that I like. I'm not a huge fan, but I like him. I think he's cool when he shows up and stuff. You know it's about to get real, and this is my guy, the Punisher. I like to start these off, even though this is the first one, with a quote. They laugh at the law. The rich ones who buy it and twist it to their whims. The other ones who have nothing to lose, who don't care about themselves or other people. All the ones who think they are above the law or outside it or beyond it. They know all the law is good for is to keep good people in line. And they all laugh. They laugh at the law, but they don't laugh at me. That's the Punisher as written by Stephen Grant. And I think that's quite the statement, isn't it? That, despite who you are, the reality is that if you're a criminal, you are an enemy to the Punisher. He is not somebody that you want to meet, basically ever. I have quite a few different Punisher things here that I want to show and discuss. Like for instance, this card that I already kind of spoiled the surprise with Frank Castle here. This is from the Marvel Masterpieces set from 1994. And it says it has a quote here about the ones that did the painting, which is the Hildebrandt brothers, Greg and Tim Hildebrandt. Says one of our challenges has been to show movement. Since streak lines don't seem to work, we use the Punisher's headband and the bullets to get the job done on this one. So let's see how good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Oh, the light's over there. Okay, so that's going to be my ticket, angling it that way. This also says, when Frank Castle saw his family ruthlessly gunned down, something inside him died, and in its place, the Punisher, a one-man army against crime, was born. So that's kind of cool. And I've always collected these cards ever since I was a young kid. A lot of my collection, whether it be cards, comics, action figures, they were all lost over time. All of my action figures actually were lost in a storage unit. So, yeah, that really sucked. And then most of my comics and stuff I lost in a house flood. So, all of this stuff is reacquired stuff. I had tons of cards before, but my card collection is not very expansive anymore, but I did find quite a few different Punisher cards. But if you don't know who the Punisher is, I wanted to explain, quite a bit about who he is. And, again, show off some more stuff. Now, this is a page from the Marvel Masterpieces, or not, this is from the official handbook of the Marvel Universe Master Edition. They were on these cardstock. All of these were illustrated by Keith Pollard. So, very cool to, I'm trying to collect the full set. I have very few left to go. But, I want to try to explain quite a lot about the Punisher here in as much detail as I can. I wrote script as well. It says, Frank was born in Queens, New York, and married his wife, Maria, who was pregnant when he enlisted in with the U.S. Marine Corps. While in training for the Marine Corps, he met a Native American who taught him to survive in the wilderness. During his tenure in the Marine Corps, he ran a recruitment office for a month where he met Linus Lieberman, fought in the Saigon War, or Saigon Kong War, sorry. It was a decades-long war that is basically the Vietnam War, but for Marvel's purposes, they call it the Saigon Kong War, where he fought beside the likes of Ben Grimm, Reed Richards, and even Tony Stark and James Rhodes. Despite being arguably the best American sniper in the Corps, many of his supervisors did not like him and would intentionally place him in places where they hoped he would not return from alive. And then comes the tragedy of the Punisher. While on leave, Frank took his wife and 2 young children to Central Park, where they ended up being witnesses to a mob killing. Frank and his family were all gunned down, but Frank somehow survives, but it leaves him deeply traumatized by the event. Frank was going to testify against the shooters, but was denied because of the police department was loyal to the mob. Frank decides that he will not return to active duty. In Punisher Year 1, Frank becomes the Punisher and he vows to spend the rest of his life avenging his family. This vow is all there is for Frank. There's nothing he won't do, nothing that can stand in his way for very long anyway. He will always be back. Matt Murdock even wanted to stop the Punisher by law, like legally stopping the Punisher, having him arrested. Even with Daredevil's help, the Punisher came out on top, but only but the Punisher comes out on top, but only tranks Daredevil because he is an innocent, and Frank has no intent to actually kill Daredevil. But in the end, Daredevil shot Frank and put him in prison anyway. Frank then teams up with a fellow inmate who is also incarcerated, Boomerang Frederick Myers. They conspire to a great escape, and at the finish line, Frank betrays Boomerang and leaves him to the police. But Frank now wants the Kingpin's head. Frank attacks the Kingpin's headquarters, and Spider-Man defends Kingpin along with the help of Cloak and Dagger. It eventually comes down to a one-on-one, Kingpin versus the Punisher. And who wins? Kingpin. Kingpin wins. Like, what? How does that happen, right? But that's the first, 10 years of story, basically condensed down into just a few pages, right? Where Punisher wasn't super popular, but and he was originally a villain as well. There was really not much intention to have Frank become the vigilante hero that he really is. Let's see what this says here. It says real name, of course, is Frank Castle. He's a citizen of the United States. He has a criminal record, of course. He's also a Marine deserter. He's widowed. His father is Mario Castiglione. I cannot say that, so please be nice to me. It's Castiglione. I know that it's even his name in the in the Daredevil series and also the Punisher series. They call him that. His mom's name is Luisa. His wife Maria, who is dead, his unnamed son, and Lisa, his daughter. Known confidants: Microchip. Known allies: Spider-Man. Major enemies: Kingpin, Jigsaw, Magia, and all organized crime figures. Magia is basically the mafia but Marvel just has their own version of the quote unquote mafia, and that's what that is. He's usually based out of the New York area. 6'1", 200 pounds, blue eyes, black hair. His intelligence level, normal. Strength, athlete. Speed, athlete. Stamina, athlete. Durability, athlete. Agility, athlete. Reflexes, athlete. Fighting skills, U.S. Marine training in hand-to-hand combat, martial arts, marksmanship, and weaponry. He also has recon training and underwater demolition team certification. He has no superpowers, no mental powers, no special limitations, and source of superhuman powers, also none. Costume specifications is body armor, mostly made of Kevlar. Personal weaponry, M16, .22, 223 caliber automatic rifle, Sterling Mark 6 9mm semi-automatic rifle, 9mm Browning Llama automatic pistol, 45 caliber automatic frame rechambered for 9mm, 223 caliber Derringer, M26 fragmentation grenades, tear gas grenades, Gerber Mark II combat knife. He also has an armor combat van. His first appearance is Amazing Spider-Man number 129, which I actually have right here. This was my uncle's copy that he bought sometime in the early to mid 90s. He said that he paid, I think, $400 for it. So, this is one of my heirlooms. So, basically, no matter what happens with Karkom, and even if I get a better copy at some point in my life, which I really don't ever need to, but this one will forever be mine. I have 3 books right now that will forever be mine. One that was, crud, I just crinkled that card. Oh, I'm sad now. Alright, so, one that I obtained myself, and then one I got from my uncle, one that I got from my grandmother. Oh, that stinks. I'm so sad that I just ruined that card. But this isn't from one of the cards that I have almost the complete set or a full set, so could be worse, Kirby. Could be worse. Alright, so his origin was initially printed in Marvel Preview number 2. It says significant issues. There's a whole bunch of them. I don't know if I'm going to go through all these, but Amazing Spider-Man number 129, of course. He was tricked by the Jackal into attempting to kill Spider-Man. Spider-Man 135, he teamed up with Spider-Man to capture Tarantula. Giant-sized Spider-Man number 4 teamed up with Spider-Man to battle Moses Magnum. Marvel Preview number 2, his origin recounted. Family inadvertently witnessed gangland execution in New York Central's Park and was subsequently murdered by mobsters. Disappeared, resurfaced as a costume vigilante. Marvel Super Action number 1 has reprisals against criminals responsible for murder of his family recounted. Amazing Spider-Man 162 and 163 teamed up with Spider-Man and Nightcrawler to capture Jigsaw. Amazing Spider-Man 174 and 175 teamed up with Spider-Man against Hitman. Captain America 241, he encountered Captain America. Amazing Spider-Man 201 and 202 teams up with Spider-Man again against the Racketeers. Amazing Spider-Man Annual 15, he encountered Spider-Man as both battled Dr. Octopus. And Daredevil 181 encountered Bullseye in prison. 182 escaped from prison arranged by the government agent stopped drug smugglers. Daredevil 183 and 184 battled Daredevil. And yeah, I'm just going to stop there. It goes on for quite a while. But let's show off some more cards. So first I'm going to show off this whole page because these cards are... When these came out, I thought they were the coolest thing ever. Because they all go together. Each page makes like one big picture. So I'm excited about the Punisher here. Alright, so the Punisher one on this one says, did you know the Punisher was the recipient to the Congressional Medal of Honor for his service as a Marine during the Vietnam War? So I'm going to take this out so we can show the back here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Alright, so Stamina 3, Intelligence 2, Fighting Ability 6, Agility 3. Alright, and this says vowed vengeance on all criminals after his family was killed by the mob. Amazing Spider-Man 129. So this is Marvel 1993 Skybox set. And that's the card alone again. I think it's cool. Hopefully you do too. I'm going to put this back in the page. Alright, and then I have one more whole page to show off from a different set. I thought this was pretty cool. Now, who are all these Punisher-like looking people? I don't even know. I don't even know half of them. But I like these cards. I read more cards than I ever did comics when I was a kiddo. But it's cool art. I enjoy it. Let's see what this card says here. Hopefully, even holding it at that angle, you still get a pretty good idea of what it says, or if you pause it, you can read it. Crashing the summit between the heads of the world crime families, the Punisher learned the hard way that the summit was all a trap, and he was the target. Greatly overmatched, he had only one thing in his favor. He came with nothing to lose. Armed with a trigger linked to 2,000 pounds of explosives, the Punisher was prepared to take his would-be killers with him. As the standoff was broken and a hail of bullets, the Punisher fought back, even as local and federal authorities closed in on the scene. The Punisher wages a one-man war on crime to avenge the death of his family at the hands of criminals. This was told in Punisher Warzone number 23 from January 1994. This card is also from 1994. This is from the Marvel Universe set. This also had a crunched corner on it, so it's not a flawless card. Alright, let's see. Next one here. This looks like a... Oh, it's not. I don't know who did this art. I thought it might have been a Julie Bell card, but it's not. Kind of pink. I think that... Oh no. Is that Spider-Man he's kicking? I don't know. Oh yeah, it's Spider-Man. Okay. That might be from Amazing Spider-Man 129. Frank Castle, former Marine, watched helplessly as his family was cut down by gunfire of criminals. At that moment, something inside Frank Castle died, and in its place was born the costume vigilante known by the Punisher. Driven by the memory of that tragic event and armed with an arsenal of a combat veteran, the Punisher wages a one-man war against crime without pity, mercy, or regard for the law, becoming an outlaw himself in the process. In the beginning, following his military career, Frank Castle studied to enter the priesthood. Okay. This is Marvel 1993. So Marvel Masterpieces 1993 set. Cool. Alright, so this is from the Spider-Man set. This one is Spider-Man and the Punisher. Pretty cool. I like that the back of the card looks like a newspaper from the Daily Bugle. It's cool. Let's read this. New York. A rash of brutal underworld murders apparently committed by Spider-Man were revealed to have actually been the work of criminal chemist Dwight Ferran, alias the Master of Vengeance, as part of a plot against the Wallcrawler. Ferran's masquerade brought the notorious vigilante called the Punisher onto Spider-Man's trail, and the two engaged in a fierce battle. But when Ferran's duplicity was revealed, the pair grudgingly formed a temporary alliance to subdue him. Spider-Man prevented the Punisher from murdering the Master of Vengeance, but was unable to keep the elusive vigilante from once again escaping the police. This says Spider-Man number 32 through 34, March through May 1993. Kind of like the art on that, even though it's so dark, it's hard telling what's going on. And like the Red Skull Punisher there too on the back. It's neato. Alright, so this one, we have a Power Blast card. It's all super shiny. You're getting a good look at my webcam there. Reflected in there. This one has no text on the back other than just what it is. Limited edition Punisher Power Blast 2 of 9 from the Marvel Universe 1994 set. Alright, so this one, two of my dudes. I like Ghost Rider. Alright, so this is Famous Battles, Punisher versus Ghost Rider. Very cool. It says battle fought in Punisher War Journal 29 and 30. When two powerful forces collide, they can create fireworks, but when the Punisher and Ghost Rider cross paths, it was explosive. The two heroes met while in pursuit of the Roaring Island, a monstrous vehicle which served as a mobile pharmaceutical laboratory for the new designer drug Spin. After a short but intense fight, the Punisher and Ghost Rider came to an uneasy alliance and pursued the Roaring Island down the highways of New York. Eventually, after the Punisher had infiltrated the Great Rolling Complex, the heroes were able to bring it to a halt and destroy the deadly supply of the drugs forever. The drug was called what again? This is called Spin. It was a designer drug, though, apparently. Apparently it was cool. I don't know what it did or why people wanted it, but okay. Alright, so this is Punisher versus Jigsaw. Very cool there. I dig it. Alright, so this is Battle Fought Punisher number 35 through 40. One of the few enemies of the Punisher to take it on the chin and survive to come back for more is the ruthless mob boss known as Jigsaw. His face shredded into bloody ribbons when the Punisher threw him through a plate glass window. The Jigsaw has devoted every cruel resource at his disposal to paying the Punisher back in kind. When they last met in the jungles of South Africa, Jigsaw succeeded in ravaging the Punisher's features, turning him into a twisted mirror image of Jigsaw himself. But the Punisher's wounds were healed with the aid of the mutant Reverend, and he rose to defeat the Jigsaw once again. Very cool. I like that. I think Jigsaw is like basically the Joker of the Marvel universe. I mean, there's a few of them, but like Jigsaw is crazy. I guess, Joker might not murder as much as he does. I don't know. My DC knowledge isn't very much, but this guy, on the other hand, I have no idea who this is. Is that why he's just losing this fight? Thorn. Punisher versus Thorn. Alright, so this one we have battle fought in Punisher Warzone 1 through 6. Nothing's more dangerous than an opponent who won't stay dead. As the Punisher learned when he infiltrated the Carbone crime family. Made to look like a traitor to the family by the Punisher, mobster Sal Carbone was apparently shot dead by members of his own gang, only to reappear soon after. Hale and Hardy as the vengeful Thorn, determined to even score with the Carbones and the Punisher. Determined to even the score with the Carbones and the Punisher at any cost. So interesting. I'm actually quite intrigued by that. I wonder if Thorn has a part of the Master Edition, like one of his own cards like this. He should. I'm interested. But then again, I'm just invested in every character. I want to make one of these for every character that I have these cards for. And I want to get these cards autographed by the creators of the character, if they still are alive, and or like people that played them. I would love to have this signed by Dolph Lundgren or Ray Stevenson or I can't believe I can't think of his name. But okay. Well, I'll think of it. Maybe. Alright, so a few more to go here. Let me try to get these done. Alright, so this one. Oh my god, it's bothering me so much that I can't think of what his name is. Tom. Why am I thinking Tom? Okay. Moment of truth. Confronted with the arrest by law enforcement officials, the Punisher surrenders rather than shoot police officers. That happened in Punisher number 54, April of 1992. After the death of his family during a gangland shootout, retired military officer Frank Castle swore to avenge them by destroying all crime. Walking the line between enforcing the law and breaking it, the Punisher wages a brutal war on lawlessness, a lone vigilante armed with a sophisticated arsenal of his own grim obsession. Art by Robertson and Candelario. Alright, we got Agility 3, Fighting Ability 6, Intelligence 2, Strength 2, Stamina 3, and Speed 2. This one is also from the Marvel Universe 1994 collection. Cool. Alright, so this one here. All criminals who would prey upon innocents beware. This dark, gloomy New York night conceals a predator of a different kind. The vengeance-obsessed vigilante called the Punisher. And even the shadows of his filth-ridden alleyway won't hide your illicit acts from the cold, steely gaze, nor protect you from the blazing barrels of his gun. It was from Freeze Frames from the Marvel Universe 1994 set. And the card set that got everybody I know into card sets. Marvel Masterpieces, where every card was illustrated by the great Joe Jusko, who forever we could not figure out if it was Jusko or Qusko because of the signature. But regardless, every one of these cards is freaking amazing. So cool. And I like that it not only, it doesn't always show the first appearance, but it does show the first cover appearance. But for this one, obviously it's the same. His first cover appearance is also his first appearance. After losing his wife and children at the guns of the mob, ex-Marine Frank Castle changed from a quiet family man into a vengeance-crazed vigilante known as the Punisher, skilled in the arts of weaponry and combat. Unwavering in his resolve, he has dedicated his life to destroying criminal cancer that affects society, or at least die trying. But no matter how successfully he wages his one-man war, the Punisher must live with the knowledge that there is one victory that will forever elude him, for he can never bring his family back from the dead. Alright, so Punisher, is your name Frank Castle? Yes, but I prefer Francis. Why do you have a skull on your shirt? Because a portrait of my face would look silly. Alright, that's all that is, I guess. Boom. Most valuable comics. Says Amazing Spider-Man 129. 1990 Overstreet price guide value. $185 in near mint condition. Cover credit is Gil Kane. Inker John Romita. Interior credits is writer Jerry Conway, penciler Ross Andrew. Inkers is Frank Giacoa and Dave Hunt. This issue featured a dramatic debut of the Punisher. The supervillain known as the Jackal has tricked the Punisher into believing that Spider-Man was a supervillain who had to be killed. The Punisher succeeded in surprising, trapping, and in what appeared to be the fall to the death, accidentally killing Spider-Man, but Spider-Man escaped and tracked the Punisher to his hideout. There he had turned the tables on the Punisher and revealed to him how the Jackal had duped and double-crossed him. Furious, the Punisher disappeared into the city, having vowed to make the Jackal pay in full for using him as his pawn. Oh, that's all. It's all just text anyway. Okay. You don't really need to see it. I don't know what that was. I'm sorry if it was loud. Alright, Most Valuable Comics. The Punisher Volume 2, Number 1. July 1987. 1990 Overstreet price guide value. $6 in near mint. Most Valuable Comics. At its greatest. Writer was Mike Barron. Artist is Klaus Janson. Give it up for Klaus. Synopsis: in an effort to stop the flow of crack cocaine to the United States, the Punisher embarks on a plan that, if successful, would take him straight to the top of drug overlord in Bolivia. First, the Punisher destroys a fortress-like crack house in New York City that belongs to the drug overlord. Then he meets, is tortured by, and ultimately kills one of the drug overlord's top lieutenants. Throughout his bloody climb, the Punisher weaves a deception that at the end of this issue is about to net him his goal, an audience with the drug overlord himself. If you read that, you know who that drug overlord is. Let me know in the comments below because I don't know who that is. Alright, so famous battles. This is Punisher versus Daredevil from Daredevil 257, 1988. Daredevil and the Punisher were separately seeking Alfred Coppersmith, the murderer of the randomly spiked aspirin bottle. The murderer who had randomly spiked aspirin bottles with cyanide. The Punisher's brand of vigilante justice demanded that Coppersmith die for his crime, but Daredevil wanted to bring the murderer before a court of law. A rooftop battle between the two heroes ensued, with Coppersmith as witness. Ultimately, Daredevil won. Coppersmith was tried in court and imprisoned. Also, just a text back with their mugshots. All right, so Punisher. Frank Castle says battles fought 122, 106 wins, 14 losses, 2 ties. Win percentage is 89%. Archenemy, Kingpin, and Jigsaw. Amazing Spider-Man 129, first appearance. After his family was murdered by mobsters, Marine Corps Captain Frank Castle decided to take the law into his own hands and become the vengeance-crazed vigilante known as the Punisher. Now this grim, merciless one-man war on crime employs his vast arsenals of weapons to dispense his own lethal brand of justice, the kind that comes out of a barrel of a gun. Like the criminals he hunts, the Punisher himself is now a fugitive of the law. Very cool. Love this card set. I have that complete set. And then last card, wrapping this up after this. I do thank you for stopping. If you have questions about the Punisher, leave questions down below. I will try to answer them in part 2 of this. Alright, Punisher's battle van. This is a heavily modified Ford V8. Has an engine output of 270 horsepower. Goes 0 to 100 in 9.4 seconds. I feel like that's very realistic, actually. The Punisher's battle van is a versatile, mobile fortress. It contains a wide variety of built-in offensive weapons and is heavily armored against any sort of attack. Its built-in computer and surveillance equipment allows the Punisher to gather information about a suspect at a moment's notice. When he's out on a mission, the Punisher considers his battle van his home away from home. And then it has a did you know the Punisher's friend, who is Microchip, designed the weaponry and armor of the Punisher's battle van. Alright, so for the questions of this episode, I did reach out to a couple of friends and family to ask these questions. And the first question is, does the Punisher only deal justice on Earth because Earth is the only place in the universe with crack cocaine? Really? Okay. Survey says yes. Of course that's yes. I mean, the Punisher does not want any crack cocaine being anywhere, so you got to stop it at the source, right? You can't. What? What are your thoughts on the Punisher films? All right, so Warzone is okay. I thought Ray Stevenson was okay with the part. I feel like having Jigsaw in a movie was a good idea, and it really added a lot to that movie. Lundgren is cool. I love that he did everything like for real in that. Like he took the real punches to the face. His bruises and everything are real. It's not makeup, so that's awesome. And then the Thomas Jane. So it was Tom. I was thinking Tom. Yes, Thomas Jane obviously is a perfect one. it just was a great movie. John Travolta's character was like seriously off the rails. You had no idea what Howard Saint was going to do. It was a great film. There was also a YouTube movie, like a short film with Thomas Jane as the Punisher again, and it had Ron Perlman in it. If you can find that on YouTube, I would look that up. It's not huge, but it's a cool little story. And then of course the Netflix Punisher series and the Daredevil series was just awesome. Ben Troll. Why can't I think of how to say that right? But anyway, he does a great job as well playing Frank. Has the Punisher ever had super strength, or has he always just been a man in a suit like Batman? Well, there's a couple of things that a couple of times when Frank has done something that is beyond what the normal person can do. For instance, because of his situation that he's gone through with his family, Ghost Rider actually tried to use his penance stare on the Punisher, and Punisher feels everything that he does anyway, so he was actually immune to Ghost Rider's biggest power, his biggest weapon against evil. Because the Punisher knows what he's doing is very messed up, and he accepts it. He believes that it is a necessary evil, that that he feels justified in what he does, and every person that he kills, it's a scar on him that he accepts. So that's something that is unique. I can't find really anybody else that has a soul that is immune to that. So that's kind of cool. And then Frankencastle, that's where Frank Castle has been killed, and he's like torn apart by Daken, Wolverine's son. He tears him limb for limb, and then he's stitched back together by Morbius, the living vampire, and Man-Thing. They bring him back to life, and he's very much just like a Frankenstein monster thing. It's a weird story that nobody really liked. That they, I don't know how they retconned it out, but yeah. But those comics exist. You can read that. There's also a storyline where he gets like angelic powers, where he can kill demons, and like has he still uses guns and stuff, but they're like imbued with like angelic powers or something. And then recently he also had the War Machine armor. Frank Castle got that armor and wore that with a painted skull on it. It's pretty cool, but I mean, that's still a man in a suit, but or just utilizing a weapon, since War Machine himself is basically a weapon. Let's see. Fourth question. Does he prefer boxers or briefs? I would say probably briefs. They would hold everything together when you're in the thick of it, when you're like running through. Never mind. Is he afraid of spiders since he was beat up by Spider-Man? No, I don't think the Punisher has any fears on it. What do you know about the Punisher? If you're asking, what's his favorite Taylor Swift song? What? God, just stop. He's a fictional character. He doesn't listen to that crap. Golly. I don't know who would do that. Who asked that question? I don't know. I'll find out later and report them to the authorities. But yeah, let me know if you have any future questions about the Punisher. I want to talk about him again in upcoming videos. I want to make this into like a series where this is just part one of the Punisher, and we'll talk like basically I gave a rundown of the first 10 years, and Punisher was created in 1974. There's tons more stories of him that I can talk about in the subsequent videos to come. And I want to do other characters as well, but I do want to show off the first appearance. If you have a character that you like, that you want me to do, probably won't be Spider-Man because I do not own Amazing Fantasy number 15, but or I don't know anybody I can borrow it from to show it off in the video. But yeah, like I got a ton of books. I like characters whether they're big or small, lesser known or mainstream. I'm a Marvel fanatic, and I want to have them all, you know. So yeah, let me know what you're interested in seeing next. Leave a question if you have one. But until then, thanks for coming by, and thanks for visiting the land of Karkom.